I'm coming. Hey, listen, I've got this crazy video for you today. We're gonna be talking about this guy. Yeah, Ronald Read. He's a Vermont janitor and gas station attendant that somehow was able to build an $8 million stock portfolio in complete secret. No high salary, no fancy degrees, and no one around him even suspecting a thing. I mean, the dude wore this tattered coat that was held together by safety pins. And I'm gonna be telling you how this humble millionaire next door quietly amassed this fortune and what smart investors can learn from his story.
What does it take to amass Mr. Read's $8 million?
Ronald Read is a humble JCPenney janitor.
He lives $300 a month over 65 years for a total of less than $270,000 put in.
First things first, welcome back to the channel. I'm Dalton. On this channel, we dig into real-world finance stories to help you build wealth. And trust me, if this 92-year-old janitor can quietly clean up with an $8 million portfolio, there's definitely some lessons here for all of us to take away. So let's dive right in. Now, to understand this completely insane story, we've got to go way the hell back. I'm talking about rural Vermont, this tiny farm. Yeah, that's where Ronald grows up, but he's broke. And we're talking about the kind of broke where owning a car is just a pure fantasy for his family. That doesn't stop him from being the first to finish high school out of his family, and he's got nowhere else to go. So after high school, he goes to serve. And after World War II, he comes home. What does he do? Pumps gas for 25 years. He's sweeping floors at JCPenney until 1997. We're talking about blue-collar work, the stuff that barely moves the needle in all aspects. And here's the thing, he doesn't win the lottery. He's got no secret trust fund waiting for him, just a broom and a paycheck and a man that's living on pennies. Now, from the outside, he's just another working stiff, but here's where it all flips, because you see Ronald here, yeah, he's obsessed with frugality. Not skip Starbucks kind of frugal. We're talking about safety pins holding his jackets together types of frugal. He drives a beater. He heats his house with a wood stove, still swinging an axe in his 90s because, hey, free firewood. Breakfast, the cheap diner special. I mean, oftentimes he finds that strangers are picking up his tab because they're assuming the old man is broke. His lawyer says that he hates waste. He buys nothing that he doesn't need. And a neighbor at one point even knit him a winter hat, not realizing he probably could have bought, hundreds of them at the time. That's how deep his poor old man disguise runs. And his buddy Mark Richard, he nails it. If he made 50 bucks, he invested 40. 80% of a janitor's paycheck gone straight into the market. His stepkids think that he's just a hard worker. Then the will gets read and jaws, they slam to the floor. One local even remembers buying a scrap wire off of him for a couple bucks thinking they were helping him out. But in reality, the man's rocking $5 flannels sitting on a 7-figure stock portfolio. And so listen, if you didn't pick up on it in the story there, what it boils down to is that income means nothing if you don't save. You see, Ronald Read proves that you can build immense wealth on a modest salary simply by living way below your means. I mean, maybe it was a little bit too extreme, but it's not about flashy jobs or high income at all. It's about discipline and thrift. Every dollar that Ronald didn't spend on a new car or fancy clothes, well, hey, that was a dollar that could work for him in the stock market. And as investors, controlling your expenses is the first step to controlling your financial future. So the burning question becomes, how the hell did Ronald actually invest those savings to amass $8 million? He's not making that much money. Now, it turns out that his strategy was just as simple as his lifestyle. He was a self-taught investor, mind blown, who stuck to the old-fashioned blue chip stocks, the kind of stuff that we talk about on this channel, the companies that you've actually heard of. Now, Ronald avoided anything that he didn't understand. No hot tech startups, no stock of the week hype, nothing like YOLOing all of your money on a Wall Street bet post, GameStop, none of that hype crap. Just solid businesses that pay dividends. And his lawyer put it best. He only invested in what he knew and what paid dividends, because that's what was important to him. Now, his portfolio was basically just this hodgepodge of stable American companies. We're talking Procter Gamble, Johnson & Johnson, JPMorgan Chase, General Electric, Dow Chemicals. He had AT&T, Bank of America, CVS, Deere, General Motors, stock certificates stacked in his safe deposit box, literally 5 inches thick. A pile of wealth sitting quietly in a vault. Now, it wasn't just a handful of companies, no. He held nearly $95 different stocks across all sectors. We're talking utilities, banks, railroads, consumer goods, serious diversification. He wasn't chasing quick trades. He's not trying to time the market. He was building his own personal index fund of reliable businesses. And Ronald treated investing like chopping wood, one of his lifelong hobbies. Slow, steady work that eventually builds a massive, well-stocked pile. Now, market crashes didn't even scare him. He actually held some of Lehman Brothers stock when it collapsed in 2008, but with the level of diversification that he had in his portfolio, the loss barely made a dent. So he just kept holding and collecting dividends, reinvesting those from dozens of other companies. Now, Wall Street Journal, they summed it up best. Ronald displayed remarkable frugality and patience, which gave him many years of compounded growth. And that patience, that was his superpower. And so it all boils down to this: stick to what you know and play the long game. You see, Ronald, he didn't chase hot tips, no trendy IPOs. He bought quality companies that made real money, and they shared their profits through dividends. And then he just stayed invested. He didn't panic sell, he didn't gamble on things he didn't understand. And in today's terms, that would be like building a solid S&P 500 dividend paying portfolio and just letting it ride. His story proves that boring can be beautiful in investing. Slow and steady wins the race when you let compound interest do the heavy lifting. All right, now of course we've got to talk about Ronald's secret weapon. It's, well, time. I mean, he lives to 92 years old. He invests for almost 70 years, and that timeline is absolutely critical for hitting $8 million. You see, compound interest, it only shows its true power over decades, and Ronald gave himself decades. Warren Buffett once said that nobody wants to get rich slow, but that's exactly how Ronald did it. With 90% of Buffett's wealth coming after the age of 60 thanks to compounding, Ronald's story follows the same blueprint. He starts investing in the 1940s, he stays invested into the 2010s, and builds a 70-year snowball. Now, if you started right after World War II and earned average market returns, you could hit $8 million by 2014 with just $50 invested a month, the cost of a nice dinner, invested every month over 69 years. Now, that's the magic of compounding. You see, Ronald didn't strike gold with the next Tesla. He let small, boring investments grow over half a century, never cashed out, and reinvested every single dividend, even in his 90s. Now, we don't all get 70 years to invest, but the earlier you start, the longer you stay in, the bigger the payoff you're gonna have. Now, Ronald didn't retire early. He didn't splurge on a Lambo. He just kept going. As one person put it, besides being a good stock picker, he displayed remarkable patience, which gave him many years of compound growth. Patience isn't sexy, but it's one of the most underrated skills when it comes to investing. So listen, after a lifetime of frugality and quiet investing, Ronald Read's story culminated in a pretty heartwarming way. He passed away at 92 in June of 2014, and only then did the community learn about his fortune. When the news broke that the local library and hospital were getting the bulk of his $8 million estate, people literally did a double take. The Brooks Memorial Library received $1.2 million, an amount that doubled their endowment in one stroke. I mean, the library director said it was a thunderbolt from the sky and called Ronald Read a self-made man who understood the value of libraries. The Brattleboro Memorial Hospital got $4.8 million, its largest gift ever. They even named a new pavilion after Ronald Read when they expanded the hospital later on. The janitor who ate $2 breakfasts in their cafe ended up a major benefactor. Now, it was the talk of the town. Here was a man who literally sat in the hospital coffee shop each morning with the muffin and peanut butter, who wore tattered old clothes and cut fallen tree branches for firewood, now funding community institutions for generations to come. Now, in total, Ronald left $6 million to charity and about $2 million to his stepchildren, friends, and caregivers. Now, he truly embodied the idea of wealth whisperers. He didn't spend anything on himself. He quietly built it and then gave it back to his town. Ronald's story, though, it isn't with the slight philosophical twists. Some might ask, did he enjoy the money enough? He lived so cheaply that one columnist called him the epitome of Yankee frugality. Admirable, yes, but also it was, a little bit too much. And financial commentator Barry Ritholtz, he praised Ronald's saving prowess, but also noted that it's a cautionary tale about enjoying life while you can. In other words, there's got to be a balance to be struck. Ronald clearly found contentment in simple pleasures. chopping wood, reading the Wall Street Journal every single day at the library, and he achieved something extraordinary financially. But his story also reminds us that money is a tool, and the ultimate purpose is to improve the quality of life, whether yours or others. Ronald chose to improve others' lives with his fortune, and that's a legacy to respect. So now I got to admit, I'm curious to know, what do you think of Ronald's approach? Would you be willing to live as frugally as he did just to reach financial freedom, or do you feel like he took penny pinching way too far? Let me know in the comments. I'm super curious about your take. And as always, if you found this breakdown useful, make sure you hit the like button. It helps the algorithm and makes me feel better about my life. So share it with somebody who needs a little bit of that inspiration, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dive stories. Thanks for watching.